I've given our boys dolls, even if they tear the head off. I've given them dolls to learn that care and caregiving is not just an activity that's reserved for women, but that it's also an activity that is a responsibility of men. What I've done with both my daughters and my sons is, if I'm reading a book and the protagonist is a male, I just change the he to a she. And it just normalizes for my sons in particular. I don't even just do it for my girls. I do it for my sons because I want them to see that women can be the center of a story, that women matter, that women are interesting. At the end of the day, we're all kind of like in this place in history maybe where we're recognizing what it is to ultimately deconstruct all these gender roles and ultimately be human. And that's exciting to me. So, I'll just continue to kind of do my work and try and deconstruct all of these like limiting narratives about ultimately what it means to be human.
People are nuts. The feminization of America isn't empowering women. It's dismantling the very backbone that made this country strong. And I'm not going to mince words, folks. It's led by woke white women. All right. These nutty leftist woke white women. These are white women, folks. So how did one of the most privileged groups in America become the loudest voice for victimhood, for outrage, and anti-American narratives?
They are still the most privileged group in America. And what you're seeing from them is not victimhood. This is maternalism. This is them saying, I can take better care of you than you can. And it's not new. It's something historically that they've enjoyed, and they're not going to let it go.
Wow. So Shelley, has it caused this neuroticism? What's going on here?
This, to me, it's a form of a tantrum in a way.
Like toddlers.
They're tantrum. Mm-hmm. They have a tantrum because they want this attention.
Eddie, what are you doing here? You're trying to antagonize people, so go the fuck away. Go the fuck away. Go the fuck away. It's simple. Go the fuck away.
She's so
go home.
Why don't we just let her get raped right now and forced to have a mother?
That'd be great.
I would carry full term. Yeah,
go.
I'm sure you would. And you'd be traumatized for life.
She's traumatized already.
She already is.
I'm not the one who looks traumatized here. You can go.
You're right.
You can go.
We're a little old.
We're gonna stay together. We're gonna stay together the rest of the day.
How would you say you're for women, but then
we're gonna stay together? Shut the fuck up, bitch.
How would you?
Why are you antagonizing people? Why are you
antagonizing video evidence?
Why are you antagonizing people?
That is disgusting.
No,
come with your elders. Come with your elders, please. We've been fighting for this for 50 years. She's so young. I hope.
Wow. That gave me a flashback.
So, I want to talk about this because historically, this group of women have been family-centered. There's family-centered roles. We went from community stability, PTA moms, church involvement, to now activism-driven identity. We see these women at protests, online, outrage, and involved in identity politics. So again, how did we get here, Shelley?
They are leftists. And see, this is why I keep trying to make the point that conservatives outside, we need to be specific. These are not liberals. Liberal has been conflated under leftism, and they're not the same. These are leftists. These people, they don't like America. They don't like American values. They believe in these racial hierarchies. And of course, they want abortion at every turn, every stage. That's one of their, that's their drive there. But these people are not liberals. There's a difference. And I think we do harm, or I wouldn't say harm. We don't do well when we don't keep explaining that there is a difference. They're not the same. When we lump them all together, everything gets conflated. These are loonies, butch bitches.
Yeah. Well, leftists. But again, we're talking about this phenomenon that we're seeing with leftist white women. All right. This is what we're talking about. And again, how did we get here? These women used to be the backbone of our communities, at least the communities where they live in, builders of the communities. Now they're enforcers of this ideology. What's going on, Nicole?
Well, a lot of them are college educated, and this is where the indoctrination really took root. But nowadays, it doesn't even start in college. It starts in elementary school. And the more that you hear certain things over and over again, you may not act on it as a small child, but it's a seed planted. And when you get old enough, the tree grows rotten fruit. You eat the rotten fruit and you end up that girl who looks like she needs a shower screaming in this woman's face, right? And then the most important part of that scene for me was when the two old ladies put their arms around her. It was like, listen to your elders. The girl with the glasses sort of stopped and had a thought. Is this what my life is going to look like in 10 years, 20 years? This is what I'm going to be doing with myself, sitting out here greasy haired with flags on the back of my baseball hat, talking to the people who are just trying to help. Is this the future that I have? That should have been her wake up call. It really should have.
Yeah. You made a very good point. Her hair was very greasy.
It was.
She needed a shower
greasy.
and a good conditioner.
Good conditioner.
All she needs is like a little bit, maybe a quarter size.
Right.
Get in there and get it going.
Well, we're not talking about something that happens occasionally. And let me say this, we all are here in leftist Maryland, all right? You know, between Maryland and California, they are always sort of in competition to see which state is going to be most leftist. And we see this all the time right here. So we have a firsthand account on this phenomena of these leftist white women, okay? Because they particularly are triggered when they meet Black conservatives, okay?
The only thing that pisses me off about the left is that every single time I post something about being a Black conservative, they always want to go, oh, well, they're never going to accept you. You're never going to be one of them. They're never going to do anything for you. Okay, cool. I don't want to be one of them, whatever that means. They don't need to do anything for me. Everything that I've ever achieved or received is because of me and my work ethic alone. Every single job I've had, promotion I've had, school I've gotten into, grade that I've received is because of me and me alone. Not because of my skin color, but because of my merit. While you sit over there and play the oppression game and wait for another government handout, I'm out here grinding and working and getting the things that I'm setting out to receive. And it has nothing to do with my skin color, but everything to do with the content of my character. Thank you.
It is a big question, and I want to highlight, I guess, maybe one facet of this is the tension, I call it. I live in this, this dichotomy between happiness that a young woman can look at Christina and just physicalize her passion or her interest, or even if it's not something she wants to do, she can just be like girl power, and that's awesome. And that young brown boys and girls can look at me and go, hey, he looks like me and he's doing what? And that's great. I love that. But I also hope we are pushing the other direction, that one day we don't have to talk about these first, that one day this is just, and I listen to this, that this is the human history. It's about human history. It's the story of humanity, not Black history, not women's history, but that it becomes human history.
If you really want to understand how we got here with the leftist women and then their meltdowns and neuroticism, this didn't just happen overnight. You have to look at the cultural architects behind it. All right. And so she goes into detail, Helen Andrews. She's an editor, a senior editor at the American Conservative and author of Boomers, the Men and Women Who Promised Freedom and Delivered Disaster.
You could say that feminization equals wokeness. Everything you think of as wokeness is simply an epiphenomenon of demographic feminization. Think about all the things that wokeness means. Valuing empathy over rationality, safety over risk, conformity and cohesion over competition and hierarchy. All of these things are privileging the feminine over the masculine. So if you have ever wondered why wokeness appeared out of nowhere when it did, that is my hypothesis, that all of the institutions that began admitting women in the 1970s eventually got enough women that they were able to reorient them. In moral reasoning, the traditional way of phrasing the difference between men and women is to say that women have an ethics of caring and men have an ethics of justice. In making a moral judgment, men will ask, what are the rules and what are the facts? Women tend to be more interested in context and relationships. So let's apply that to wokeness. When James Damore wrote his famous, or I should say notorious memo for Google, arguing that female underrepresentation in the hard sciences might not be the result of bias and prejudice, no one even attempted to argue that he was wrong on the facts. The reason that he was fired was because the things he had written might make his female coworkers feel bad. Or consider the Kavanaugh hearings. The masculine position was to say that maybe something bad happened to you, but if you do not have evidence, then we can't allow you to ruin a man's life and career over it. The feminine position was to say, how can you talk about rules of evidence? Can't you see she's crying? Now, to be clear, many women were revolted by the way the Kavanaugh hearings played out. In fact, the very best book on the Kavanaugh hearings was written by two women, Molly Hemingway and Carrie Severino. But a political system in which men predominate will tend to operate according to rules of facts and objectivity, and one in which women predominate will tend to operate by the rules of emotions and subjective facts, even if there are individual men and women who fall on the opposite side of those camps.
So, in other words, this isn't random behavior. It's a system, a culture that rewards outrage, punishes dissent, as she was basically mentioning, and turns activism into identity. This is what you ladies have been talking about.